Wow. Well, I'm very glad to see you too. So, yeah. So just have this nice towel here. It's very handy. Love you guys too. As you may know, every day from now until the election, we're giving out $1 million prize. That is, and all you have to do is sign a petition in support of the Constitution. It's very straightforward. You don't even have to vote. You don't have to vote. You just have to sign a petition saying you believe in the Constitution, which if you already believe in the Constitution, you're just signing something you already believe, and you can win $1 million. That's awesome. You're most welcome. So, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Oh my God.
Is there anything you want to say?
Well, thank you so much for, I truly believe everything you're doing.
Yeah.
Truly, you don't need to be doing it. I know a lot of us feel the same way. Your wealth and responsibility you are using to save speech, and we just all appreciate it. We really do. So thank you so much.
Thank you. So, let's see. Good times. I always get fired up with the incredible energy from you, and yeah, yeah. I mean, this kind of energy lights a fire in my soul. Honestly, it's just great. It's like really fantastic. You know, there was like, I was just on the cover of some big, like, I think it's the biggest magazine in Germany called Der Spiegel, which is like their Time magazine or something, saying that I'm enemy number 2. You know? Yeah. And I'm like, enemy number 2 of what? Democracy? I mean, I'm pro-democracy. All I'm literally trying to do is uphold the Constitution and ensure we have a free and fair election. Yeah, so. Yeah, I know. I'm definitely upgrading my security. You know, it's like. So, guess I better cancel that open car parade. Just kidding. Maybe I could do it open car parade, but it's actually like a dummy version of me, and then see what happens. It's just like an inflatable version of something. I don't know, it'd be quite funny. Just troll them. No, but I have to admit, sometimes I'm a little shook by some of the things that I see. You know, like the level of vitriolic hatred on the left, which is supposed to be tolerant. They claim they're tolerant, and yet they're incredibly intolerant, and spewing hate. And you know, whereas on the right, I see people sort of tend to regard people on the left as, well, misguided, but you know, you don't hate them. They're just mistaken. They're misguided. But the amount of hate coming from the left is like, wow, next level. Yeah, there's some evil stuff out there. So, you know, I think we should embrace a diversity of views, and we should have reasonable arguments, and we should have debates, and they should be. That's the essence of free speech: is that ideas survive, when they're competing ideas in the marketplace of ideas. If somebody says something that's incorrect, then that can be corrected. That's what happens on the X platform. People will say something, then others will add context to it, or they will correct it, or there'll be a community note. And this applies equally to the left and right. There's no thumb on the scale like there used to be. And it's, there's no voice on the left that's been silenced, unlike in the past where many voices on the right were silenced. But they just don't seem to like the idea that people on the right can say what they want to say within the bounds of the law, which is startling. I mean, the reason for this petition in support of the Constitution is because the Constitution really is under attack. One prominent Democrat after another has been saying that freedom of speech, the First Amendment, is a bad thing. Yeah, John Kerry literally said that.
Tim Walz.
And Tim Walz. Yeah, and Hillary. Yeah, exactly. It's like a long list. They're not like, mid-level people it's like the top people in the Democrat Party are saying the First Amendment's an obstacle, and then they will refer to it, they use the word disinformation. Like, it's a pretty good indication that if someone's using the word disinformation a lot, they are the ones creating the disinformation. So, and you know who if you're trying to figure out, well, like, who are the good guys, who are the bad guys, the people who are trying to suppress freedom of speech, they are the bad guys. So, but it's actually astonishing that we're even in this position in 2024 in America. It's hard to even believe that this is real, and some of the crazy stuff that I see happening, like California passing a law making it illegal to require voter ID in any election in the state. Not even like for like a city council. And a friend of mine went to vote in Palo Alto in California because he was like, is this real or not? And he like tried to show his ID, and it was like presenting a cross to a vampire. Like, they're like, no, put the ID away. Like, they literally they weren't allowed to look at his ID even if he wanted to show it to them. That is the extent of the madness. This is a real thing in California right now. And if the Dems win nationally, they'll do it nationwide. Obviously, that's what's going to happen. And there will be no democracy. That's why I think this is the most important election of our lifetime. President Trump is the only one who can save democracy. So, yeah. Yeah. If obviously, yeah, indeed, Mars 2028. Occupy Mars. Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. We want to do exciting, inspiring things that make you look forward to the future. Like sending people back to the moon, sending people to Mars, exploring the solar system. If you think of if you ask probably anyone in the world, what was the most inspiring thing that humanity's ever done? I bet a lot of people would say, we went to the moon, And yeah, well, but the fact that, us humans, with all our issues and challenges, we're able to go to the moon. And even though it was only a handful of people that went to the moon, in a sense, we all went there. We went there sort of with them. We had that experience. Well, I was admittedly 1 year old, but I saw the videos, and it was incredibly inspiring that is something that humans could do, but we want to do more than that in the future. We don't want that to be the best we ever did. We don't want that to be our high watermark. We want to go beyond. And we want to have, like I said, like a permanent moon-based alpha and a city on Mars, and I think go through, I mean, basically the entire solar system would be sick. You know, we want sci-fi to be real, not just fiction forever. You just generally want to think about the future and say that, well, there's going to be exciting, inspiring things that are going to happen that are better than the past. And that's what makes you look forward to the future. So, you know, just, you know, to sort of reiterate some of the key principles of what, you know, a Trump, I mean, obviously I think you guys know, but for people out there who may be listening, and especially for independent sort of swing voters who are maybe deciding which way to go, you know, I think with the Trump presidency, we're going to get secure borders, we're going to get safe cities, we're going to get sensible spending, we're going to get deregulation, so we have sensible regulation, and we can unlock the power of the giant that is America. And we're going to uphold the Constitution. We're going to strengthen freedom of speech, right to bear arms, and the freedoms that people treasure, and reduce the burden that the federal government places upon the states and the people within the states. You know, what that's going to do is really just take a look at all the federal expenditures and say if something is not, if you're not getting great value for money for your hard-earned tax dollars, cancel it. So, yeah. And I would regard this as, I would like to say it's a hard job, but actually it's not because there's so much waste. So I actually think this is a fairly easy job. Although we'll get a lot of opposition, naturally, from the entrenched interests that get the money and do nothing, you know, nothing good with it. They'll be grumpy about it. But the American people will be very happy that their tax dollars are being spent in a much more sensible way. And I think we also want to have extreme transparency, you know, so like no shady backroom deals or whatever, everything done in open, total exposure, like you can see the mistakes that are made, the good things that are done, you can comment on it, you can, you know, raise concerns. We want a transparent, open government, and, you know, because there will be mistakes that are made, but you want to, if there's with transparency comes trust. You know, and then you can see, oh, okay, we made a mistake, we'll fix that, we'll do that, you know, and then you know. And that's the best way to restore trust in government. Not that you should trust government, you shouldn't trust government, but it'll be, you can trust it slightly more if there's at least transparency. So those are all the things that I think we get with Trump. On the other hand, you know, with the sort of the dem machine, you know, so there's like almost no point in attacking Kamala personally because she's just a puppet of the machine. But if the dem machine takes over and has another 4 years, we'll obviously see wide open borders. We'll see our cities get less safe. We'll see extreme spending and inflation. We'll see the freedom of speech get taken away or severely undermined. We'll see the Second Amendment, right to bear arms, severely undermined. They've said they're going to do this. This is not like a secret agenda. This is what they say in public. So, you know, just believe them when they say it. And I think, well, yeah. So, and I think there's another significant danger, which I think which you consider is that there's a massive increase in the number of illegals that are being put in swing states. If you look at the actual numbers, look at the government data. So this is government data reported from a Democratic administration, and you see triple-digit increases over the past 3 years in the number of illegals in swing states. Now, the goal will then be to, over the next 4 years, to legalize all of those legals. And when you have elections that are sometimes decided by 10 or 20,000 votes, and then you sort of put 200,000 illegals and legalize them in that same swing state, now you've got a 200,000 vote advantage. And every swing state will be blue, and America will be a one-party state forever, just like California. And that would be a nightmare. Democracy, gone. That's what I think will happen with the Kamala presidency. Mark my words. And this is why people wonder why am I politically active? Because I'm a technologist. I build rockets and cars and stuff. So what am I doing in politics? It's not. I don't want to be in politics. I want to be clear. That is not my preference. I just like building stuff. I like building products that people love, and I derive joy from seeing people enjoy the products that my companies make. So I like making products people love, and that's what I normally like doing, and I actually don't like politics at all. I hate politics. but the stakes are so high here that I have had no choice but to take a stand. So it's not something I want to do, and yeah. Anyway, so dramatically increasing my risk of being assassinated, and engaging in politics are not what I want to do. I do not have a death wish, but the stakes are so high that I feel I have no choice but to do it, and that's the reason. So. I think a lot of the challenge we face is I guess one of perhaps maybe not among obviously this audience, but some people we have an issue of apathy, where they think their vote doesn't count, or they don't think it's serious enough, and so for whatever reason they have not registered to vote and they have not voted. So it's just really important to go out there and explain the importance of this election and how democracy is on the line. And this, I think, this might be the very last election that's a real election. And it's the most important election in your lifetime. And if there's any election where you ever vote, it should be this one. So, yeah. So let's, maybe we can go to Q&A.
I just want to know if you are considering running in 2028.
Well, there'd have to be a constitutional amendment for that. So my grandfather was American, actually, but I was born, oddly enough, in Africa, which is a strange spawn point, but it's like, so I cannot be president. But it's not. I actually don't want to be president. so to be clear, I want to build rockets and cars, so I'm super literal. And in fact, you can look at talks that I gave like 20 years ago, and I say the same thing. So it's not like I'm just. I believe we want to be a spacefaring civilization and out there among the stars, and we need to, have great rocket technology for that. I believe in electric cars and automation and self-driving and robotics and the space-based internet. So I just love creating technologies that people find useful, and that's what I want to do with my time. So I'm hoping that we get President Trump elected, and then I'll work hard on the Department of Government Efficiency, and then after that I hope I can not be in politics. That would be my hope. So like I said, I'm doing this because I think it's critical to the future of the country, and if America falls, nothing else matters. We're not getting to Mars or anything. And I've talked to a lot of people, like leaders in business and technology, because I was like, guys, you should really, you need to go out there and fight hard, because if America falls, your company's going to fall with it. So why aren't I wish more leaders in business and technology would put themselves out there. Like they usually agree with me and they support Trump, but they're afraid of saying so. And I'm like, man, the stakes are super high. Fortunately, more and more people are sort of, coming out of the closet, type of thing. Like, so like saying they support Trump, it's like, it's like, maybe it's probably the most rebellious thing you could do in San Francisco, but it's like, by a long shot. So, that's, anyway, I'm not a natural politician, nor do I wish to be. I just want to make, cool technology that you'll love to use. So, I do.
I'm just wondering if you would ever consider publicly supporting the pro-life movement.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously this is a contentious topic, if there ever was one. It is perhaps the most contentious topic. And to be clear out there, President Trump has been clear that he will veto a national abortion ban. He has said that because the Democrats have said that he will apply a national abortion ban, and that is causing a lot of sort of independent voters to actually not vote for Trump, because they think that he will implement a national abortion ban. He has been very clear that he thinks it's a states' rights issue, and he will veto a national abortion ban. Now, there is no answer to this question that will not offend some number of people. But nonetheless, I will tell you what my opinion is, which will certainly offend some number of people. My opinion is that if a baby can survive outside the womb, it cannot be aborted. It cannot. So if a baby can survive outside the womb, if it is far enough in gestation to survive outside the womb, at that point it is not abortion, it is murder. So obviously. Now, part of the challenge here is that the education system has terrified girls and women and relentlessly pushed the idea that getting pregnant is the end of your life. Like your career is dead, you'll be ostracized from society, and so when you instill terror in young girls that getting pregnant is the worst thing that could happen, they obviously, they believe that if they're just kids, and so that when that is a deep-seated belief that they've been hit with in the educational system for a long time, then the idea that they will not be able to get an abortion even in extreme circumstances is obviously a terrifying situation. And they will not vote for any candidate who might, essentially, who would stop them from getting an abortion even in extreme circumstances. So this is the issue that we face. It's this relentless, push in education, terrifying girls and women that if they get pregnant, their life's over. And the reality is, there's nothing greater than having a kid. So, you know, I get more joy in my life from my kids than anything else, and that's generally true of all humans. In fact, if that is how we evolved. It is a very natural thing that you will love your children. So in fact, having a child will make you happier than anything else in your life ever. So, well, I am very much pro-nuclear. If you actually look at the data, and especially if you look at, say, modern nuclear reactors, the modern designs are so safe that if you tried to get a meltdown, you couldn't do it. Like if you went there with flamethrowers and explosives, and your goal was to get this thing to melt down, it still won't melt down. That's how good modern nuclear reactors are. So they're not dangerous, and they're a great source of energy. And I think we should do a lot more nuclear power. I think it's a smart move. You know, when in Japan, when they had the tsunami and the Fukushima reactor was taken out, I had people in California asking me if they should be worried about the radiation coming from Japan. I'm like, definitely not. That's insane. And so, actually, to support the people of Japan, because people were scared to even travel to Japan, didn't just go to Japan. I went to Fukushima itself and ate locally grown vegetables on TV. And amazing, I'm still alive. Wow, can you believe it?
Thank you, Elon. So much of campaign messaging is about fixing current problems, where I think future aspirations for the country often don't get discussed as much. You obviously have some pretty large goals for your companies. So with years of good leadership and common sense policies implemented under a Trump presidency, describe your utopia America and describe the long-term achievements that you believe can be possible. Thank you.
Sure. Well, first of all, I should say that I think America is great. So, and I think we want to make sure that the fundamental elements that have made America great remain in place. And those fundamental elements are freedom and opportunity. So maximizing individual freedom, minimizing government interference, and making sure that you get ahead as a function of your hard work and talent, and that's the only thing. If we have those fundamental things, and then the Constitution stands strong, America will get greater and greater. So that's really important. But to your point, like, we have to have a combination. We have to do both things. We have to solve the problems that we face, but we must also have exciting, inspiring goals. Because life can't just be about solving one miserable problem after another. I mean, that's like, it's hard to get fired up about, okay, we've got another problem to solve. There's got to be things that you're excited about in the future, that move your heart. You're like, wow, I can't wait to see that happen, So that's the kind of thing where we want optimism about the future, optimism that is grounded on realism. So I think grand projects, revolutionizing the transport. I mean, obviously I've got some ideas, and probably other people have ideas too. I think it's possible, although I'm not really involved in medicine outside of Neuralink, I think it's possible for us to have a revolution in medicine. There are actually a huge number of drugs that are stuck in approval at the FDA that can help people, and they're just stuck in bureaucratic molasses. And a good friend of mine was telling me a story that fortunately had a happy ending, where his mom was diagnosed with brain cancer, and she the oncologist said, there's no chance. It's got maybe 4 or 5 months to live. But my friend is a very smart, determined person, and he searched, for he talked to every smart person he knew, and he found someone who said, yeah, actually, there's a drug that's in trials that you take this pill, and it actually makes the brain cancer go away. Literally, you just take a pill. He's like, what? And I think it's called like Wellirig or something, FYI. This drug called Wellirig that solves brain cancer. Maybe more people should know about this. And I think it's in trials at Harvard or something. And it cured his mom. And so that just happened. I think it was like this year. But if we could just be faster about getting, amazing drugs through the system, a lot more people would be alive. That's the kind of thing when I say like overregulation kills people, where you've got helpful drugs stuck in approvals and not help, and it could be helping people, but they're not. That's crazy, So simply expediting drug approval and the FDA, I think, will save millions of lives. So. I've been programming computers since I was 9 years old, and I know how easy it is to get a line of software wrong or hack a computer, and so I think the last thing we want to do is have electronic voting machines. We want paper ballots in person with ID. And actually, it's sort of, in terms of a real AI danger that hopefully is not there this year, but will certainly be a danger in the future, is that advanced AI will be super good at hacking computers. And so if you have voting machines that are connected to the internet and you've got super advanced AI that can potentially affect those machines, I think that's very dangerous. So we actually, so what I'm saying is that I'm normally someone who favors technology. I'm super, 21st century technology boy right here. And I'm saying no machines for voting.
Yeah. Hi, Elon. I'm 20 years old, and instead of going to college, I decided to start my own business. Your innovativeness inspires me. What is a piece of advice you would have for someone like me or me to be as innovative as you are in business?
I didn't really set out to be innovative. I think you want to set out with saying like, what's a useful product or service that you think people would like, and then try to make that thing real. And I think as long as you're, doing an honest day's work and providing useful products and services to people, I think you should be very proud of that. I have a huge respect for anyone who puts in an honest day's work, contributing to society. So that's what matters.
All is good. This is a rather novel concept to many in this room, but for the future, and since you are actively involved in cryptocurrency,
I'm not actively involved in crypto, to be clear.
No? Okay.
So no, I mean, I'm actually not actively involved in crypto.
Oh no? Okay. Well,
so
Dogecoin. All
I make Dogecoin jokes and stuff because I kind of like Dogecoin because it's got the best sense of humor and it has dogs and memes, and I love all those things.
There you go.
So.
My question is, I'm 24 years old. What key advice would you give to the younger generation wanting to start a family?
My advice regarding starting a family is start immediately. Yeah. I think people worry too much about having kids, and sometimes it's difficult to make ends meet and whatnot. But honestly, there's really no time like the present. Just have kids. You won't be sorry. It'll work out.
Edwin. I believe that you are the Benjamin Franklin of our times, and thank you for unapologetically being you. My question is, on several occasions in your life, you have bet the farm on highly ambitious and almost improbable goals, in spite of well-intentioned advices from friends, family, and even your idols like Neil Armstrong saying, don't do it, Elon.
Yeah.
Most people would break under that kind of pressure. So how did you get them, or how do you get the mental fortitude to listen to all of that advice, process it, realize you're probably going to fail, and go ahead and do it in spite of the fear?
Yeah, I mean, when starting SpaceX and Tesla, people said, you're probably going to fail, and I agreed with them. I said, yeah, I think the probability of success is less than 10%. But I felt if we didn't try to do something radical in space and with electric cars, then nothing was happening. Like the existing big companies were not innovating. Like the cost of access to space was actually increasing every year in the U.S., not decreasing. And there was no, it was basically, we're doing less and less every year in space exploration, not more. And so I was like, well, even if it's like a 1% chance of SpaceX succeeding, that's still better than nothing. So, I was like, the people tell me this joke so many times, like, what's the best way to make a small fortune in the space industry is to start with a large one. And I was like, so then when people would tell me that joke, I would say, well, I was trying to figure out how to make a large fortune into a small one. And like, how do you know? Yeah, exactly. So, so it wasn't with the expectation of success that we started SpaceX and Tesla. It was with the expectation of failure. But we felt it was important enough, nonetheless, to give it our best shot. And we just barely made it. SpaceX, the first 3 flights didn't succeed. The 4th one did. And if that 4th one had failed, I was out of money and the company would not exist. So. It was the same thing for Tesla. Same thing for Tesla. 2008 was a really tough year because that's when we had the 3rd rocket failure, and the auto industry was busy going bankrupt. GM and Chrysler went bankrupt in early 2009, and they're busy going bankrupt in late 2008. And in the case of Tesla, we closed the financing round of Tesla, and I gave all the money that I had left, and we closed that financing round in the last hour of the last day that it was possible. It was around 5 p.m. Christmas Eve 2008, and if that round had not closed in that call, Tesla would have bounced payroll 2 days after Christmas. So. And with that, thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. It's been an honor speaking to you, and I enjoyed the questions. And let's just go ultra hardcore. Remember, only have until tomorrow night to get people registered. So please think you've got one goal: get people registered by midnight tomorrow. Thank you.